I was in New Orleans when I first met Leroy. Before I did, I was taking a New Year's Eve with some friends of mine, a place called Pat O'Brien's. At the turn of midnight, I was getting kind of tired. I said goodbye to my friends. I grabbed my cane. I ventured out on the world-famous Bourbon Street. That night, it was incredibly crowded with people. It was packed, shoulder to shoulder. I realized I was in trouble. The crowd shifted real hard to the left. I lost my balance, fell down hard. Now, when I looked up, guy standing over me, 6'5", 250. He looked like a bodybuilder, and all I hear is this. Hey, you down there, Happy New Year. My name is Leroy. I'm 41 years old, born and raised in New Orleans, just like you, friend. Can use a hand up. Now, once he got me up, he said, Scott, where are you headed? I said, I'm headed to the end of Bourbon Street. He said, well, as luck would have it, I'm heading the same direction. Follow me, I will make a hole. And in that moment, I kid you not, this is what happened. Leroy turned around and he started yelling out these words at the top of his lung. The words are, watch out, people! Handicapped man is coming through! Really? But I can tell you this. He didn't just make a hole that night. He literally parted the Red Sea, right? Now, we were making really good forward progress, but I was getting embarrassed by the mantra. So when Leroy was no longer looking back to see if I was behind him, guess what I did? I did exactly what you would have done. I disappeared in the crowd. You know what the problem was? He found me. He found me 10 minutes later. When he goes, Scott, he goes, what in the world happened to you? I said, Leroy, I just couldn't keep up. He's like, no worries. I'll slow down. I said, okay, but can you do me a favor? Can you please stop yelling out the words, handicapped man is coming through? He's like, why, does that bother you or something? I was like, absolutely not. No, not at all, but I don't enjoy the way you're presenting it. And in that moment, Leroy turns around yet again, starts yelling out these words at the top of his lung. The words are, watch out, people! Cane man is coming through! Leroy. So here's the thing. When Leroy and I first engaged in conversation, he asked me a question. I answered. He listened. I followed. Now, I wasn't necessarily excited about the way he was verbally communicating his message. So I bailed, right? But when he found me 10 minutes later, he asked a question. I answered. He listened. In a moment's notice, Leroy adapted his mindset on the fly. And in doing so, our partnership became a functional partnership, and we both got to our next destination. Look, to get you here today at this conference, each and every one of you had to navigate your own Bourbon Street, right? But to get you to your next destination, to meet the future needs of your customers and keep up with the never-ending demands of your industry, you may need to adapt, and in some cases, like Leroy, on the fly.